Now, let's look at the market effects of changes in supply. Suppose there's an increase in the supply curve. Remember, this is a movement of the supply curve to the right, because at any given price, the quantity supplied has increased. Supply curve. Remember, this is a movement of the supply curve to the right, because at any given price, the quantity supplied has increased. Now, this is going to happen if any of the variables other than price or quantity that affect the supply relationship changes in a particular direction. What makes the supply curve shift to the right or supply increase? Well, a decrease in wages, a decrease in the price of materials, an increase in technological advancement or a government subsidy, a decrease in future prices, or an increase in the number of producers. All of these variables moving in this direction is going to shift the supply curve to the right, which is an increase in supply. What's the market effect of this change? Well, we can look at the market for pizzas again. Here we've got the initial supply, S1, in the pizza market. Here we've got the demand curve. We can see at equilibrium, point A, the price is $8 and the quantity is 30,000 pizzas per month. If some variable changes which increases supply or shifts the supply curve from S1 out to S2, the new supply curve, we can see that at the old price, there's going to be an excess supply. The quantity supplied is going to be greater than the quantity demanded, and this drives the price down. It continues driving it down until we reach the new equilibrium at point C, where the price is now $6 and the quantity is 36,000 pizzas per month. So an increase in supply will decrease the price level in the market and increase the quantity. Any of those variables moving in the opposite direction is going to be a decrease in supply. So if we want to look at, say, an increase in wages, which is a significant increase in cost to the production process, we would expect the quantity supplied at any given price to go down, so the supply curve shifts to the left. Same is true for an increase in the price of materials or capital, an increase in taxes, increase in expected future prices, or a decrease in the number of producers. All of those will shift the supply curve to the left, which is a decrease in supply. The market effect of a decrease in supply is the opposite of an increase in supply. Suppose we look at the market for pizzas, and we start out at an initial supply curve S1 and the demand curve. We have an equilibrium at point A where the price is $8 and the quantity is 30,000 pizzas per month. If there's some change in a variable which decreases supply or shifts the supply curve to the left, we now have a new supply curve, S0, with a new equilibrium at point C. At this new equilibrium, there's a higher price level in the market and fewer pizzas being produced and purchased. So the quantity has gone down and the price has gone up. Now here's an interesting twist. Suppose we have both demand and supply changing. Well, let's look at simultaneous increases in demand and supply. Well, if the demand, let's look over here first in panel A, where we start out at demand curve D1 and supply curve S1. That gives us equilibrium at point A, with a price of $8 and a quantity of 30,000 pizzas per month. If the demand curve increases or shifts to the right, and supply increases or shifts to the right, what we'll see is an increase in the quantity being produced and the quantity being consumed. Consumers want more, and producers are willing to supply more, so the quantity goes up. As we've drawn it here in panel A, we see the price also rising from $8 to $9. But that might not necessarily be the case. As we've drawn it here, we see a relatively large shift in demand and a relatively small shift in supply. Over here in panel B, we can see, again, we have an increase in demand and an increase in supply. But in this instance, the increase in supply is relatively larger than the increase in demand. We still see the increase in the quantity from 30,000 pizzas per month to 45,000 pizzas per month. But in this instance, the price has gone down from 8 down to 7. So a simultaneous increase in demand and supply will unambiguously increase the quantity, as it does in either of these panels. But depending on whether the demand curve shifts more or the supply curve shifts more, the price might rise or the price might fall.